Robinson Crusoe is a 1719 book written by Daniel Defoe, an English writer, journalist, trader, and spy. The book follows the homonymous main character, who is led to a travel across the seas and after a shipwreck finds himself lonely on a small and remote island. But the book is not only about a castaway trying to survive. In Daniel Defoe's work, Robinson Crusoe, dissatisfied in his home country, decides to venture across the seas. This is our first point, the dream. Robinson discusses with his parents about his ambition to pursue something truly worthwhile, a genuine adventure, while his parents want him to pursue a career in law. We also come across one giant contrast. The normal English family routine seems to bore him. Another interesting point is the fact that his surname has a foreign origin, Kreutzner, a German surname. Symbolically, Defoe gives us the first sign that Robinson does not belong to that environment. Right after starting his own adventure across the seas, Robinson is captured and made a slave in African lands. Here's our second point, the deadlock. Robinson is alone and the pursuit of his dream is not as easy as he imagined. Although the protagonist sees himself as an adventurer, this new world looks at him as a number, or worse, as a product. Robinson escapes and reaches South America, where he tries to build a new life in Brazil. Then we find our third point, the resignation. Robinson becomes a countryman, resigning himself to the fact that he will have to work to support himself, and this life of adventure seems to have met its disappointing end. Years after this, Robinson embarks on a new journey, this time heading to Africa to buy slaves. Once again, a great contrast is presented to us. Robinson seeks to buy the product that he once was, a slave. We have reached our fourth point, the call to adventure. During this trip, the ship Robinson is on is wrecked, and our protagonist finds himself isolated on an apparently desert island. Let's take our first break. If we go back in the story, we can understand that Robinson is a restless and dreamy guy. His dreams led himself to become a slave. In a way, Defoe is saying that the pursuit of a dream is based on hard work. When Robinson finds himself in the symbolic condition of a slave of his own dream, he seems to abandon his adventurous desire. The time he spends in Brazil is a kind of interlude in his dreamed adventure, a resignation limited by sadness at not achieving, at least not immediately, what he dreamed of so much. Only when Robinson seeks to return to Africa, the place where he became aware of his condition as a slave, thus his adventures seem to return to the surface. It's a return to the origins. After all, the fight for a dream is not just about victories. Let's go back to the story. Robinson is isolated, alone, and helpless on a desert island. Here, Defoe starts to address the main focus of his book, and also our fifth point, values. After a while, Robinson finds some objects brought to the island by the tide. Among these objects, our protagonist finds several coins and also a Bible. Robinson then leaves the coins aside, but he keeps the Bible with him. Defoe here tries to make the immateriality of money very, very clear. It is only valid on commercial relations in a society largely supported by it, which means that money fosters money. On a desert island, resigned to your own desires and your own loneliness, what value would the coins have? On the other hand, the Bible is the most fundamental piece in the protagonist's life, who keeps it as his deepest treasure. The Bible is the link that maintains Robinson's sanity, civility, and most importantly, his faith. Later, Robinson discovers that he is not alone on the island and ends up befriending a native, whom he names Friday. Our protagonist then seeks to present Christianity to Friday. Imagine that Robinson could teach Friday how to use the coins, or maybe establish a commercial relation with the other indigenous people. But he doesn't do that. Again, Defoe shows us the intrinsic values of the story. Robinson could even make Friday his personal employee. However, their relationship is much more of a friendship than a hierarchy. Robinson finally understands that slavery, which led to his shipwreck, is not viable. Finally, we have our 60th point, renewal. Friday represents Robinson's wild side, the side that he had to learn to live with so he could survive on the island. Symbolically, Friday is a facet of Robinson, a necessary facet that saves him at the lowest moment of his life. Robinson, in his bitter and sad loneliness, finally learns the real value of things that you can't buy with money: faith, friendship, and hope. The symbolic themes covered in the book are universal, which may explain how Robinson Crusoe is acclaimed for being the second most translated book of all time, only after the Bible. The values achieved by Robinson are intrinsic to humanity and make sense anywhere in the world, in any social class, at any level of education. After all, they were achieved by a single man trying to survive on a desert island. In the end, we can conclude that human values are natural. I won't tell the end of the story because I hope that everyone who watches this video to get interested in Defoe's book and learn much more than what I could explain here. And that after all, we can all understand that the most important things in life are not bought with money.